So I continue to speak about how India is overpopulated and it is damaging the fabric of the society very deeply. So, when there is overpopulation, there are too many people talking, too many people too close to each other, and it's just a tough life in a lot of ways. So, I will talk about some instances which I was shocked with, and how I know it's all coming from when suddenly a big part of the population is expanded and it doesn't have much education and money to live a certain life. So, I will take a very easy example first. One is, you know, collectively, this is a lot true in Asia and a good part in India, that people from upper class will not mix or want to chit chat or get to know people in the middle class so easily. And middle class does not want to chit chat or know anything about the lower class. People keep their distance. But I always believed that this kind of, you know, arrogance or keeping people out is wrong. And I didn't understand it. It's also because nobody in my house taught to how to keep a distance, or I just felt everybody's end of the day human, and it's okay to treat everybody equally, even if there is a class barrier or a richness quotient which is different. But that's not how overall the Indian society is. They keep a marked difference and don't mingle and mix with people who are not as well to do as themselves, whether they are in upper class, middle class, or lower class. And the reason for that I understood after um, interacting or engaging with people from different class barriers. And now I do practice that, not to a great extent, but I don't let people who don't look very polished, don't look in a certain way, don't speak in a certain way, speak to me. The barrier is very important, especially in India. So I talk about one example here. So the example, not the example, it was an incidence. Um, so once I was coming back home, getting back home, and I was a bit late, and it just happened that the spot where I was waiting, there were no cabs that day. So I must have waited for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. There's no cab, and I wanted to get back home. And how long do you keep waiting? And then I just saw one of the girls who used to work in a beauty parlor, and I recognized her. The beauty parlor I used to go to, I recognized her. I walked up to her and I said, "Hello." I said, "Are you also waiting for the cab?" And she was also waiting for the cab, and she recognized me, and we just had a small uh, talk that, yeah, there are no cabs or whatever. And I said, whoever gets the cab, I will take you. If I get the cab, you can carry on with my cab, because she was staying further ahead. And I said, if you get the cab, then, I share the cab with you, and of course, you share the fare. So she got the cab, and she called me, and we got in. And maybe after a small ride, it was for me to get down. So I got down, we smiled, we said bye. And she asked me, so do you live here? I said, yes, I live in this building. I pointed at the building where I stay at. We waved good night, bye, and then I had paid her the cab fare, and then she carried on wherever she was, to her house. I saw nothing wrong with it, but the address that she told me was, she was a slum dweller. She lived in the slums, and this is a very organized slum, uh, and a very big patch of slum in that city. So after whatever time, maybe 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, whenever was that time, when I went back to the beauty parlor, so I got whatever services to be done, whatever hair I had to done, and all of that. One of the ladies, no, so that girl who had shared the cab with me, she came and I said, oh, hello, how are you? I did recognize her, and I said a very bright and a nice hello to her. And she also smiled and said a hello. And then she said, so where do you live? I said, you saw where I live. And I gave the name of the place. I said, it's called this. So it's a very posh area. And she said, no, that's not where you live. And she said the name of her slum. I said, excuse me? I said, I got off there. You saw me getting off there. Why would you say I live in that slum? She said, did you change your house after that? I said, what's wrong with you? Why would you say I stay where you stay when you saw me get off where I stay? And then she loudly started saying, no, she got off there, she stays there. Now she's saying this. I don't know what's happening. I wanted to give her nice whack on her face. They don't understand niceness. They will damage you by association. Couldn't believe this girl. Of course, after that, I'm very careful. I wouldn't even speak to them or have any help or to give them or take from them. And you can die and rot in your life. There's nothing coming from my side. And this is not just one incident on which I base it. This is how generally. people are in India. They damage you by association. And this is what has happened because of overpopulation. Till date, I don't know why she did that. I have no clue. So, let me get some light. Then, there are people from a certain state who always misbehave. I won't take the name of the state just yet, but I'm going to take the name of those states gradually. But today I don't take it. Once I was hiking, was just gone hiking. I had my mountain climbing stick with me. I was wearing my hiking boots. I was in the gear where if you looked at me, you could tell she's hiking or trekking. And then after trekking maybe for 4 5 hours, I was headed down back to my accommodation, and I decided why don't I also check out another place which is quite famous. And because I don't think I would keep coming to the same place again because there's so much to explore in India. So that other place that I wanted to see was close by, but I didn't know where I had to take a turn. So I saw this laborer sort of a person who does labor work where they will carry some stuff from here to there, or are just cleaning, or are doing some rough construction work. And I asked him with a lot of politeness. I said, if I had to go here, what turn would I need to take? He was, I don't think he was raised as a slum dweller or he lived in a slum, but they come, this set of people, laborers who travel from these states. They come from a certain background where they're exceptionally poor for generations, and collectively, their society, there is a problem, and there's a very big problem with them being absolute scrum and scratch of that society, the lowest bottom of the society. Usually, I wouldn't talk to them, I wouldn't even look at them, and it's a menace. They are a menace. I will talk about them in great detail in some other vlog as well. So anyhow, so this person, he was a laborer who was part of that scrum and scratch and absolute bottom of the society from a certain state, and was working in the mountains as some kind of a help. And I just asked him for a direction, and he says, you couldn't hire a vehicle? You didn't have money to hire a vehicle? And I was shocked. I said, who says this nonsense? He said, you couldn't hire a cab to go to that place? You had no money? And he's a young guy. I said, what? I'm just taken aback with this nonsense. I said, I'm trekking. And then he just waved his hand like this, and, that you can go this way or something. The second is, they will insult you because they are so frustrated and have such a bad existence that they want to pass on their negativity and frustration to just about anybody, random people. They damage you with their tongue. If this existence was not born or is culled and had enough to eat and had a certain good family life, one they wouldn't be traveling all over India as construction workers or household help or some helpers. They're everywhere from this state. They're the scratch and scrum and the absolute lowest touch of the society. You can't talk to them. You'll come out damaged in some way. They don't know how to speak. Who says this nonsense? I'm just asking for a direction. And then, if you were to meet the locals there, they would actually invite you in and ask you to have some food with them or tell you we'll make a cup of tea. And then you meet this set of people who are amazingly frustrated. They should not be allowed to reproduce, just like those slum dwelling female cannot reproduce. You're too poor. But you know what? We cannot deny anybody a happiness of reproducing. It's a certain milestone in life. So this world needs to contain it to one child, to the poorest of poor. Because there is sea of poor people in India because of overpopulation. And they get to hobnob with you when there is such a big chunk of learning missing in terms of etiquette, emotional decency, mental decency. They don't have anything. They've just been fucked, popped out, and now their existence on this earth. Nobody invested anything on them. That very day, two, three people had offered or told me to have cup of tea with them or eat with them and asked me where I was coming from, where was I headed for trekking. And then I realized I shouldn't have spoken to somebody so down under and who was a laborer. That is why the class barrier exists in India. You can't speak to people who are poor or have less than you. Or now suddenly in India there is a now hybrid class which has no class, no manners, but has all the money. What will you do with this set of people? I want to talk about one more incident, but I can't remember it. It doesn't cross me already. You know, the third incident is not just an incident, but I want to tell you that increasingly I have seen if you chit chat with people in India, or tell them about yourself, or just generally talk to them, bad things start to happen to you. People start coming and taking advantage of exactly what they have heard about you from you, because the person you chit chatted with goes and speaks to 100 people, who then goes and speaks to 100 people, and then someone decides, let me take an advantage. They take advantage of you. So increasingly in India, I just keep quiet. I don't speak to anybody. And it's just not me, it's everybody. The more you talk, and not more, if you just talk casually also with people, within no time something bad starts happening to you, or people start asking you for some help or some money in some way. The minute they get to know you have this certain, maybe a situation or certain education, they're forever asking. Maybe some other day I will talk more in detail. I'm already running out of time. My recorder cannot take up so much recording time.